Namaskar. Can I take your attention away from your phones for just 15-20 minutes? I request it. Thank you. Because we are talking about something very heart-touching, at least for me. Namaskar, Namaskaram. Good afternoon, friends. I first want to profusely thank the ICHRRF for including a session on Kashmiri Hindu genocide on a day when the day is dedicated to forgotten genocides of India or the world. I will come to you why I think it's important. You heard whole day tales of pain about genocide. But why tell you why Kashmir genocide is special, ironic, because it happened in so-called post-independence democratic pseudo-secular India. That's the difference. You heard tales of genocide happening in Islamic countries, Muslim-dominated countries, in 13th century, 14th century. How many of you believe that genocide would happen in India just 30, 31 years, 32 years away? While we claim to the world that India needs to have a place as a superpower of democracy, we have some holes to fill, my friends, in India and the world, and I'll continue. Now, the slides there? Yes. Thank you. So first of all, I just want to mention, sorry for a few minutes prep here. I always believe that you should know about the speaker before you hear or trust the speaker. Not a bio sketch. Just I wanted to mention a few things about you, about myself to you. I'm born and brought up in Srinagar, Kashmir. Living in US for the last 3 decades or more. I am not a right-winger. I am not a left-winger. And as you all can see, I don't have wings. I just stand straight. I'm a strong believer in religions, harmony, tolerance, acceptance. But I do not believe in pseudo-secularism at all. My family and the members of Kashmiri Hindu community have undergone Islamic terrorism in Kashmir. You can never know more about Jewish Holocaust unless you hear a Holocaust survivor. You will never understand Kashmir or Kashmiri genocide unless you talk to a Kashmiri Hindu who has gone through it. Yes, to me, this topic is not an armchair intellectual topic which I can stand up and impress you all with my oratory. This is a topic which strikes deeply, rather hurts deeply. That's why I wrote you all at the beginning that please give next 15-20 minutes to a tragedy of our country, of our Bharat. Brief outline for this presentation, I want to focus on 3 or 4 main points here. One is Kashmir, an enigma. If somebody tells you that they understand Kashmir, probably they've never understood it. Gandhi never understood Kashmir, Nehru didn't understand Kashmir, successive governments in India didn't understand Kashmir. They didn't understand the ethos of Kashmir, they didn't understand the fissures of Kashmir, they didn't understand the politics of Kashmir. So I will focus a little bit on that. I would also like to talk to you about, very briefly, about the religious persecution and exodus of Kashmiri Hindus from Kashmir for centuries. And I will focus a little bit on UN's Genocide Convention and how that relates to Kashmiri Hindu genocide. And towards the end, I will ask you 2 questions, to you, to the world, and to the government of India. Now first about, why did about Kashmir? Many of you know about Kashmir as a tourist place, Dal Lake, Switzerland of India. That's true. Some of you think it's some kind of disputed area between India and Pakistan. Partially true. Some of you think that it is some place where people throw stones at police people and there's some kind of human rights violations happen. That's what Kashmir is known to most people. Why? Because it's driven by the separatist agenda, the agenda-driven journalism, social media misinformation, political spin, propaganda, geopolitics. All of these factors play a role in giving the outer sheets about Kashmir. But if you ever care to dig deeper, go beneath these layers, you will find here, deep down, the truth about Kashmir. And that truth is the language of objectivity, that truth is spoken by history, that truth is spoken by data, and truth is spoken by facts. And let me focus on some of those today for you. Long before India and Pakistan existed, the modern India and Pakistan existed, Kashmir did exist. Some people think Kashmir is something after Pakistan was formed. No. It dates back about 5,000 years. It's a cradle of Hindu civilization, a nerve center of Sanskrit. Hindu and Buddhist scriptures have originated from India. It's Kashmir which gave to the world the pristine philosophy of Kashmir Shaivism, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Natya Shastra, and Sanskrit grammar. So those of you who tell you that Kashmir is an integral part of India, got it wrong. Kashmir is India. It is the fountainhead of Indian civilization. It's not some kind of geography integral part. It is the soul of India. Now what happened? Islam arrived around 1323 CE, and thereafter the indigenous population, which is about 100% Kashmiri Hindus, which was then, they were largely either massacred or forced into Islam or driven out. The tale that you heard all day today. Same mindset, same approach, same goal, same victims. There is something called Bhat Mazar, which in Kashmiri language means, Bhat means Kashmiri Hindu, Mazar is graveyard. There is still existing Kashmiri Hindu graveyard in Kashmir, which was a mountain of Kashmiri Hindu bodies there, dead. Now, with regard to what happened to this land, just a brief thing, there was Exodus 1, almost 7 exodus that happened from that valley. Exodus 1 happened around 1389, I won't go through all of it. And second one happened in about 1502 to 1504, 14 CE. Exodus 3 happened during Mughal reign. Exodus 4 happened during Afghan reign, Durrani reign. Exodus 5 happened around 931, when it was British rule. Nothing changed for Kashmir, by the way. It still continued to have that genocide in one form or the other. Exodus 6 happened in 1986, again British reign, and Exodus 7 happened in 1989-99, again in so-called secular democratic free India. Today, this community is uprooted. Their culture is basically demolished. Language is almost dead. Homes are lost, including mine. Temples and shrines are destroyed. This is not, ladies and gentlemen, somewhere in Islamic country. This is happening in so-called Hindu majority India, which Western media likes to call Hindu nationalistic India. That's where this has happened. And within a few centuries, about 100% of indigenous Kashmiri Hindus, which also included some Naga Buddhists, that population has plummeted to 0.1%. Think for a moment the math from 100% to almost less than 0.1% current Hindu Kashmiri, Hindu population living in Jammu and Kashmir. If this is not genocide, what is? A lot of people tell me, have billions of Kashmiri Hindus died? Maybe 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, so that people may call it genocide? I tell them that you have a math problem. We don't have 300 million Hindu, Kashmiri Hindus to begin with. If you have 100 families total, 99 got thrown out, you can say that only 1% stayed back. Whether it's 10, 20, 200, 1 million, wouldn't matter, because Kashmiri Hindus were never in millions to begin with, at least in modern India. Now, what happened overall, Article 370 and 35A shielded Kashmir, became the epicenter of Islamic terrorism. And within this period, 89, 99, 1, with the rest of India and the world remained silent. The rest of India and rest of worlds remained silent. Islamic terrorists committed the most outrageous human rights violations by killing, raping, uprooting about 400,000 indigenous Kashmiri Hindus who were forced to flee Kashmir. The 7th Exodus. To tell you briefly, in Kashmiris, Hindus were given 3 choices. Don't get me wrong, we had choice. All of you who are for choices, we had choice. What choices did we have? We had choices were given to us in Kashmiri. Kashmiri Hindus got one choice was Relu, which in Kashmiri means mix with us, convert our faith. That's called Relu. Saryu means in Kashmiri, run away from this place. And third one was Galyu, which in Kashmiri means yet perished, yet killed. You have 3 choices. Take a pick. And if that was not enough, there was a Kashmiri slogan on the streets which said, ICHRRF, Sari Kashir, Bataurus, the Patnya San, which means we want the entire Kashmir with Kashmiri women, but without Kashmiri men. That was the slogan on the roads. So if anybody tells you that Kashmiri terrorism was only because of terrorists from Pakistan, they are wrong. Yes, they were trained separatists from Kashmir, but they were Kashmiri Muslim youth who got trained there. These slogans did not come from Pakistani soldiers. These were the Kashmiri slogans being uttered by the radical elements of Kashmiri Muslims there. Now I must mention here that along with the death of Kashmiri Hindus, some of the Muslims did die as well. Who are those Muslims who died in Kashmir? Number 1, those who were perceived to be spies for India, or for example, those who were in police force or military force. They died. And there are those people who died who were terrorists to begin with. And third who died were those who were pelting stones or basically violating the law. Those were the Muslims died. But there is no moral equivalence between the death of Kashmiri Hindus versus the death of Kashmiri Muslims, because all Kashmiri Muslims can still go back to Kashmir. They have beautiful homes, they have beautiful valley, they have prosperity. Every Kashmiri Hindu is out there, cannot go back to the roots. So if anybody tries to draw a moral equivalence between the two, they need to go back to the dictionary meanings of what the blame means, what the victim means, and what the perpetrator of a crime means. Now let's talk about Exodus 7 myself. I have a very brief here. My family had to vacate Kashmir home within 36 hours. They were given the warning that if you don't leave, you will be butchered in your own home, which they really meant. And my wife's maternal uncle somehow didn't take due attention to that warning, and his entire family got butchered in their own home. That uncle, whose shawl I still have with me because he had given me that gift at the time of wedding. And I was wearing that when I was shooting for Kashmir Files unreported doc series for a symbolic meaning, because his shawl was on me when I was narrating the story. So that's the real touch of it. Now, one thing I want to really emphasize here is that religious persecution and terrorism, my friends, are the two blots on the conscience of humanity today. I won't go through each and every case of Kashmiri Hindus. That would be too long for this talk. But as they say, a picture is worth 1,000. These are the real pictures of some of the victims. Some. Again, the picture is not unique. Genocide is not unique. You heard a lot of it. But the irony and tragedy is it happened just 30 to 32 years back in so-called democratic post-independence India. Where did the conscience of India die? That's the question for us all. Now, quickly I want to go to genocide for some of you who may want to know. This term was coined by Raphael Lemkin, a Polish-born lawyer who had fled the persecution of the Holocaust. The word genocide is actually a combination of a Greek word, genos means race or tribe, and Latin side means killing. Now why am I saying this? If you look at the criteria by which genocide is defined as per the General Assembly Convention on the Prevention of and Punishment of Crime of Genocide, Article 2, the criteria are, number A, killing members of the group. B, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. 3, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. And last, imposing measures intended to prevent birth within the group. Last one is forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. If you look at Kashmiri Hindu genocide, it meets the criteria from A to D. For those who want to know, does it meet the criteria of genocide? Yes, it does. Now, I could go with all the details of genocide one by one. I could go with volumes of data for you. But at the end of the day, what's the point? If it doesn't touch your heart, then all stat, all figures, all presentations, all slides are just a heap of information which we can keep finding. Now, to the Indian judiciary, I have a few questions. Normally, at the end of presentation, speaker asks you for questions. I'm breaking the norm here. As a speaker, I'm asking questions. To the Indian judiciary in question, is hiding behind procedural, technical formalities the best way to deliver justice to Kashmiri Hindu minority in Jammu and Kashmir? Procedures are more important than delivering justice? Is that the law school told you? Was that the purpose of justice, legal justice? A question for them. To the government of India, the question, while abrogation of Article 370 and 35 are laudable historic steps, why is a well-documented genocide and human rights violation of Kashmiri Hindus still not officially recognized in India? Before I go to congressmen in US, Britain, Canada, which we do, I get asked this question: why has government of India not recognized as a genocide? I belong to Bharat, I love it to core, but I'm not afraid about talking about the fact that where our failures are. It's the failure of all successive governments of India, including the present one. They have so far ignored it. Why there's no commission of inquiry? You cannot claim and go around and tell, I want to be the largest democracy in the world, and you don't have rule of law or any accountability for the genocide which happened on your watch just 33 years ago in one of your states, and that too for a microscopic minority called Kashmiri Hindus in Jammu and Kashmir. We have to walk the walk. Questions to the international agencies and champions of human rights and democracy worldwide. When over 99% of minority Kashmiri Hindu community gets hounded out of their homes, get brutalized, get uprooted, get forced to run for their lives by Islamic terrorists, is that not genocide, or is that not violation of human rights? I heard in Capitol Hill a lot of talk about human rights violation of Muslim majority in Jammu and Kashmir, whether they had police people come and take them or arrest them. I haven't heard one of them say, what happened to the community, 99% of whom have been hounded out? Nobody talks about their human rights. Why not? Just a case here, from that picture I showed you. When a Kashmiri Hindu woman gets gang raped, then cut alive into pieces, ICHRRF, with a saw, then you have armed terrorists slaughter men, women, and children in broad daylight. Is it not human rights violation? To the progressives, to the educated, to the champions of democracy, to the United States Congress, to Canada, to Britain, to Washington Times, to Washington Post, to New York Times, to the opposition in India. Is it not human rights violation? When did the conscience of the world die? When did the conscience of India die? When did the conscience of the leftists die? When did the conscience of political opposition in India die? These are just few questions that every Kashmiri Hindu will ask today, tomorrow, and in years to come.